What's up, YouTube? This is Fable Grimmo back again with another deck profile. Today I'm giving you guys Gustos. They're a dual terminal archetype consisting mostly of Winged Beast and Psychic type monsters. The overall strategy of the deck is to recruit other monsters, and so you constantly have a monster presence on the field, as well as recycle those monsters to gain advantage. So let me give you guys a peek. Start off with 3 Winda Priestess of Gusto. When she is destroyed by battle by your opponent's attacking monster, you can special summon 1 Gusto tuner from your deck. Next up, 3 Digusto Goldos. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 level 2 or lower Gusto monster from your deck. Quick note on this guy, due to how he's worded, he can miss the timing in certain situations. So if he's destroyed by battle or destroyed by a card effect, you will get his effect. But if he's tributed or synchroed off, his effect will miss the timing. So a quick note on him. There's a few other rulings on him too. He's kind of like Etellys Cliff. So if you have any questions about that, look him up before you start doing stuff with the deck. But anyway, so next up, 3 Gusto Eagle, 1-star tuner. When he is destroyed by battle, you can special summon 1 level 4 lower Psychic type Gusto monster from your deck. So essentially, these 3 monsters sort of make up the core of the deck, as they can all search each other. So essentially, as long as you have these guys, copies of these guys in your deck, you have almost an infinite wall of monsters that you can leave out on the field. So usually how it goes is, Galdo can search Winda, Winda search Eagle, Galdo can also search Eagle, Winda can search both of these. Eagle can search out Winda, but usually we'll get to my next card as a nice transition here. You want to search out Serenity of Gusto. She is essentially the advantage engine of the deck. She is a 4-star Psychic type monster, 1700 attack. You can return 2 Gusto monsters in your graveyard to draw 1 card. So she is just pure card advantage. If you have a loop going and your opponent and you have a bunch of Gustos in your graveyard, return them back to your deck to reuse them for recruiting and gain advantage off it. So she's probably one of the best cards in the deck. Next up, we got 1 Ree's Whirlwind of Gusto and 1 Windar Sage of Gusto. First Ree, she's a 5-star 1900 attack. Her effect is you can return. She's essentially a creature swap or a TGMI on legs. So one of the main strategies in Gusto decks is to give your opponent your Galdos and your Eagles, and then gain advantage through, and then take their monster and then gain advantage through that. So one of her helps with the creature swap sort of strategy, and then Windar is a 6-star 2000 attack Gusto monster. When he destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 level 3 or lower Gusto monster from your graveyard. So, as we'll see with the next card later, these 2 are essentially higher level toolbox cards. Rees gives you essentially a creature swap on legs, and then Windar helps you gain advantage through battle. And how to get these 2 guys out is 3 Serene Psychic Witch. When she is destroyed while she's on the field, you can banish 1 Psychic type monster with 2,000 or less attack, and then during the next standby phase, you can special summon that monster. So, with her, usually you'll grab these two as your targets when she's destroyed, and then go from there, as both of them can be searched. She can also search out Calm if you want to, Winda, and as well as some of the other monsters that I will get to. So she's also level 3, so she's creature swappable and Etellysable. Next up, 2 Silent Psychic Wizards. When this guy is normal summon, you can banish 1 Psychic type monster in your graveyard, and then when he leaves the field, you can special summon that Psychic type monster that you banished. So he's sort of another reverse toolbox, nice way to get back a Calm that's in your graveyard, one of the Digusto or Psychic Synchros that are in your graveyard, or just whatever you need. So he's at 2. He's pretty good, and he's also a 1900 attack, so he can get over or tie with a lot of the lower level monsters. And then last up is 2 Krebons, level 2 tuner. Pay 800 life points to negate an attack against them. I like him over Esper Girl, which you'll see a lot of people run, especially if you run Psychic Witch and Psychic Wizard. But I find Esper Girl, even though she has a pretty good effect, I usually don't want to grab her with Witch or Wizard, as I'd rather have other targets, and Krebons also has a protection effect. So, Esper Girl, she's essentially dead on the field if I don't take her off, and Krebons can at least stay out and defend me for a little while as needed. So, 2 Krebons. Spells and Traps. 2 Pot of Duality. You do a lot of setting in this deck. It's not the fastest deck ever, but Duality helps you get the cards that you need to go off later. 2 Creature Swap. As I said before, this deck really likes this card, as you can swap Eagle, Witch, and Goldos, or Galdo. Also, another note about this card is that if you creature swap Winda, you will not get her effect when she's destroyed by battle, because of how she's worded. But you can still creature swap, your 2 tuners and Witch, or any other monster that you want them to have to gain a bigger monster. So this card helps a lot to gain advantage as well as take your opponent's monster. 2 Etellys. The deck runs a lot of Psychics, as well as tuners, and since the card just came back at 2, definitely run 2 of this. 2 MSTs. Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, Monster Reborn, Book, Contact with Gusto. This card, you can select 2 Gusto monsters from your graveyard and return them to the deck in order to destroy 1 card on the field. It's essentially spot removal. Also note about this card, as well as in comparison to Calm, because of how they're worded, Calm's returning is a cost, so you cannot return the Digusto Synchro or XYZ monsters, but Contact, the returning is part of the effect, so you can. So just another note on that. But this card, I just have it at 1 because of space issues, but it's really good as far as spot removal to get rid of cards that will otherwise mess you up, as well as to recycle your recruiters. And then 1 Miracle Synchro Fusion. Again, this deck is pretty psychic oriented, and this allows you to go into an Ultimate Axon Kicker. Honestly, I have yet to actually get this thing off properly, but so I'm just giving it a shot for now. And as far as traps, Solemn Brigade, 2 Bottomless, Mirror Force, 2 Deep Prison. You can also run a compulsory if you so choose to. I might have to try them out as well, but two D prisons and 2 torrentials. And then now for the extra deck, I'll just give you guys sort of the oddities of the extra deck, as most everything else is pretty standard. The important one is Digusto Freeze. She's a 6-star 2000 attack. You need 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner Gusto monster. When this card is synchro summoned, you can add 1 Gusto card from your graveyard to your hand, so you can get any of the monsters or contact with Gusto. She cannot be destroyed by battle, and anytime that a Gusto monster battles and you take damage, your opponent takes that damage instead. So this card is almost essentially a win condition, as you get her out, and then you also have one of your little weenies, one of your little recruiters out there, and you can essentially just ram your recruiters into your opponent's monsters, special summon another, ram it again, and they're taking all the damage from this. Especially helpful if your opponent has a rather large monster out on the field, as they're just going to die that much faster. So she's an extremely good card for the deck, extremely tricky and hard to get around, and can potentially win you games. So she's probably the most important Digusto Synchro. There's also Digusto Goldos, 7-star, 2600 attack. During each end phase, you can remove and play 1 wind monster from your graveyard to destroy 1 face down. He's okay. He's just sort of an option, but still not that bad. He's also a psychic, so all of these synchros are psychic type monsters, so they can all be brought back with a silent psychic wizard. And then the other Digusto Synchro is Digusto Goldos, 5-star, 2200 attack. Once returned, you can return 2 Gusto monsters from your graveyard to your deck to destroy 1 card on the field. So she's pretty good. Again, you can recycle your recruiters, and is another spot removal. I apologize. It's one face-up monster you can destroy. Still, helps destroy bigger threats, attack, and then recycle some stuff. Scrap Archfiend as another 5-star option. 7-star option. See, 7 stars. Magical Android as another 5-star option. 2400 at a 5-star is a pretty good beat stick. Psychic Synchro, you can use it with a Miracle Synchro and Wizard. And also, the life point gain, don't underestimate that, as you can definitely gain a lot of life points after leaving this card and a few other psychics out for a few turns. Fault Ruler Archfiend, 8-star, Psychic Synchro. You guys know what he does by now. And then the other one, Ultimate Axon Kicker. You summon him through Miracle Synchro Fusion, through 1 Psychic and 1 Psychic type monster and 1 Psychic type Synchro monster. Bunch of effects, he's essentially huge, big. If you get him out, that's really good. I haven't gotten him out yet, so I can't even, let you guys know how good he is. I might have to cut him just for space issues, but I'm checking him out so far. Alright, so yeah, that's my Gusto deck. If you guys didn't notice, the deck is also 45 cards, which is kind of a little bit big as far as Yu-Gi-Oh decks, and I tend to like to make my decks between 40 and 42. So 45 is a little bit big. That's because there's a lot of tech options that go in with the deck, such as the creature swaps, the Etellys. I only run 2 dualities. I'd run 3 if I could, stuff like that. But it's a fun deck, a little bit slow, but very consistent, very controlling, very fun. So check it out. Thanks for watching. Peace out, YouTube.